Okay, so we're going to start on our custom video player, and the first thing I want to do is go over the file structure. So over here on the side you can see we have an index.html, which is empty, script.js, which is empty, and then as far as assets go, we have in the image folder a poster PNG, and with the HTML5 video tag or element, you can have an attribute called poster, which is like a default image, and this is what we're going to use for that. And then in videos, I have this gone.mp4, which is the video that we're going to play, and of course you could use any video file you want. Now for the CSS, I actually have a folder called CSS with a blank style CSS, which is what we'll create. And then in addition to that, you'll notice I have this progress CSS, which is basically styling the range input. Okay, so for the video progress, we're going to use a range input, and you can see that there's a lot here, and I didn't really want to focus too much on this. So what I did is I used from an article on CSS Tricks, a fantastic article that shows you how to, actually I have it open already, that shows you how to style these range inputs with cross-browser compatibility. And I wanted to properly give them credit. CSS Tricks is a phenomenal website for CSS. So basically you take the default look like this and turn it into something like this. So they give you the styles here, and that's where that CSS is coming from. Okay, so you can get that in the resources, you can get it from the GitHub repo. So that's the file structure we'll be working with. So we're going to start off in the index.html, and let's go ahead and create our boilerplate, and we'll say custom video player. So we're going to want to link our style sheet. Let's add the progress CSS, which is in the CSS folder. And then let's also add our style CSS, which we still need to create, or not create, but add the styles to. Now, in addition to this, we're going to be using Font Awesome for our icons. So to use the newest version, you can go to fontawesome.com, and you have to actually create an account, log in, and create what's called a kit. Or you can use the older version if you search for Font Awesome CDN. So right here, this Bootstrap CDN by StackPath, you can actually use, if we click right here, you could use one of these, so we can grab this link here, and that way you don't even have to create an account or anything like that. So I'm just going to grab that and put it right above our other two CSS files. Okay, so that should be all we need for the head, and then let's add the script. Source is going to be script.js, and then we'll go ahead and create the body. So we're going to have an h1, and we'll say custom video player. And under the h1, we're going to have our video tag. Now this takes in a source, which is going to be in videos, and then gone.mp4. And nothing goes in here, but we have some other attributes to add. So in addition to source, let's give it an ID of video so that we can access it in the JavaScript. And we also want to give it a class to style, and I'm going to call that screen. Okay, and then we want to add a poster attribute, and this is going to be kind of the default image that shows. So that's going to be in image/poster PNG. So I'll save that, and VS Code will just kind of format everything. Okay, so that's our video. Now let's open this up just to see what we get. So what we get is just the poster. There's no controls here. I can't even play the video whatsoever. However, there is a controls attribute we could use here. And now if we take a look, now we just have like a standard player, right? We could play the video, we can pause it, and we can control it, and that might be just fine. But what I want to do is show you how to create your own controls, your own play button, your own progress bar, and timestamp and all that stuff to make it a little more interesting, and you can really create your own custom player rather than just embedding an HTML5 video. All right, so let's go back here, and we're going to get rid of controls because we're going to have our own controls. So underneath video, let's create a class of controls, and we're going to have a button with a class of btn, and let's give it an ID of play, and let's create two of these. So we'll say times 2, enter. And let's see, just put this down here. And I just want to change this second one to the ID. I'm going to change to stop. All right, so we have play and stop. So in here, we're going to have a font awesome icon. So let's say FA, and then we also want the class of FA-play, and I want to make it a little bigger so that we can do FA2X to make the icon a little bigger. And for the stop icon, let's say I class FA, FA-stop, and FA-2X. Okay, so if I save that and we take a look, you can see down here we have a play and a stop button. Now this looks absolutely horrendous, but we're gonna add some CSS in a little bit to make this look a lot better. Now we also need a progress bar to show, you know, where the video's at, also to skip around and stuff like that. So we're going to use an HTML5 range input for that. So right under the button here, let's say input, let's give it a type of range. Okay, we don't need a name. We do want an ID. We're going to give the ID of progress, also a class of progress, because that's what we're using to style it. And there's some other attributes we want as well. So it needs a range. We're going to say the minimum is going to be 0, so that's basically where it starts, and then a max of, let's say, 100. All right, and then for each step, so like where we click it, how much of that is it going to take up, and since basically each step is going to be a second, we're going to say 0.1 for the step. Okay, so we'll be able to step by 0.1. And then the initial value obviously will be 0 because we wanted to start at the beginning of the song. So let's save that. And if we take a look, you can see it's already styled because we have that progress CSS file. However, if I were to comment this out right here just to show you the default look of it, it would look like this, which may be just fine, but I just wanted to use kind of a different style. So we're going to go ahead and add that back. Okay, and obviously it's like on top of the play button right now, but we're going to fix all that with CSS. And then the very last thing I want is a place to show the timestamp, the time of the video, where we're at in the video. So let's go underneath the input here, the range input, and we'll put a span, and I'm going to give it a class of timestamp and also an ID of timestamp. And it's going to start at 00:00. Okay, so that should show up, and that shows up right here. All right, so that should be it as far as the HTML goes. So now in the next video, we're going to go ahead and style this disgusting looking video player.